You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. It's Thursday, April 10th. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're watching us live on YouTube, we appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. Subscribe if you will. That countdown to 1,000, doing good. We're 18 subscribers away from 1,000. So if you are subscribed, thank you. And go tell a friend or two or 10 about what we're doing each and every weekday here in the Quad Cities at 10 a.m. We're also live on X. Thank you for watching on X as well. And then, as I say every single day, if you want to check out the show later and you don't want to look at us, which I don't blame you, if you're working out like I should be doing, go ahead and download us on all your podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify, you name it, we should be there. So go check out Off the Air with Matt Randazzo and download the podcast version as well. A big show today, of course. The Masters is officially in full swing. You got up this morning and I got the kids off to school and I looked at the leaderboard and there's Zach Johnson, already 2 under at the top. Not at the top right now, but nice to see Zach with a good start down at Augusta. So we mentioned the Masters underway. Great time to talk golf because Masters is going on. John Deere Classic's going to be here before you know it. So in moments, my good friend Andrew Lehman is in my house. He's sitting right there. He'll join us here in just a little bit. Also coming up a little bit later on, Tom Kakert will be along to talk about a couple different things with Iowa basketball. One, the new look at the coaching staff, because not just Josh Sash, who we had on yesterday, but there's another new assistant coach as well that everyone is excited about. Plus, there's now some names of some visitors that'll be in Iowa City this weekend when it comes to the transfer portal. So Tom Kakert has all that information coming up in just a little bit. Also, in hour number 2, my good friend T-Roy from the Donut House for Local Days will have the latest part of his .08 mock draft. So a lot to get to on today's show. If you missed any of the shows this week, on Monday we had Jess Settles, Joey Van Wetzinga, and Pat Anger. Tuesday was Craig DeVries, Bandits owner Dave Heller, and Mark Nessler, who won the very first off-the-air bracket challenge that we did right here. And then also yesterday I mentioned Josh Sash was our guest, along with Joe Kral from the Steamwheelers and Bobby Metcalf, to talk about the Masters, which is underway. And I love it because I texted a few people today and I said it looked John Deere Classic like, and it did. The leaderboard looks like this little tournament that this guy puts on each and every summer. You don't put it on. That's not true. The volunteers put it on. You're just along for the ride, right?
Yeah, just kind of there and get out everyone's way.
Exactly. Andrew Lehman is here, Tournament Director of the John Deere Classic. I got to take my headphones off because you echo in my ear, and hearing you once is enough. I don't need to hear the voices in my head should not be Andrew Lehman's. Thank you for making the long trek. Last time you came out here was probably first week.
Yeah,
the first week?
Friday of the first week.
It was snowing,
It was
and
snowing,
you were
it was
cranky.
cold.
Now your shoes are on. My wife's furious right now.
I had to take my shoes off because it was snowy and it was cold out, and you left your garage doors open, and he had a heater on this morning for my toes.
Yes, I did. I want to make sure.
Kind of a high maintenance guy.
My wife's not happy with me this week because I've had a lot of you're the third guest that's come in the studio, and she's like at our house. And yes, there is some Christmas decorations near the front door. The lights are down. The main lights are down, but there's some Valentine's decorations up. So you just keep the holidays going in the Randazzo house.
Well, I mean, we are closing in on, arguably the biggest holiday for churchgoers, and Easter.
Keep it rocking.
So we're transitioning from Christmas to Easter here.
It's all about Jesus around the Randazzo household. We love that. A lot of John Deere Classic stuff I want to get to, but it is the Masters. And if you're a golf fan, for me and for you, it's not, because you're watching golf all the time, and I'm watching a lot of golf as well throughout the year. But for the average golf fan, I think this is kind of like, hey, golf's back, and this is the one we're going to check out. Is that the way you kind of see it when it comes to like an average golf fan, that this kind of jumpstarts what is a fun spring and summer?
Yeah, I think so. Specifically here in the Midwest too. I think the Masters is really our kind of launching point.
Yeah.
We're within 90 days at this point, and people really start thinking about golf in the Quad Cities when the Masters arrive, and spring is here.
You get up, and I mean, you're a Zach guy. I'm a Zach guy, and he's not. He's in like fifth now, whatever. But nice to get up and see Zach off to a good start. What's your Masters watching tradition? Or do you you're obviously working quote unquote today and stuff like that, but are you getting up early? Are you checking it out? Like, you monitoring it all the time? You're mad at me because I don't have Paramount. I'm not rich like the rest of the world. So I got my phone going on my computer, but how are you partaking in watching the Masters?
Well, we got up this morning and watched, the opening honorable tee shots. I'm going all Gary Player today in all black in honor of him. But I was up this morning before I got Ethan off to school, and we had it on, and it's funny. I think my 14-year-old might know more about voices of golf and who these golfers are than I do. So maybe I should take him on recruiting trips. You might
have a little better. No, I don't want to say luck, because the field was really good last year, and it's going to be really good this year. We'll talk about that in a little bit and see if I can get any information out of you. I never do, but when I said John Deere Classic, I mean, you look at the leaderboard right now, and you got guys that you notice from being here and doing things and doing well here. So when you say John Deere Classic, I mean, it's just guys that have had nice runs here at the John Deere Classic as well. That's fun as a John Deere Classic guy and the tournament director. You're rooting for those guys, aren't you?
Week in and week out. It's always fun to see other tournaments have a very John Deere Classic leaderboard.
It's more, if I feel like we root for our own, I'm not saying you, I think every tournament roots for their champions, but I feel like our area, when you win the John Deere Classic, you're like a Quad Cityan, and like people root for you. Not just Jordan Spieth, but I know even Sepp Straka recently, and even Davis Thompson now. I was at a draft last night where, Davis Thompson's the John Deere Classic winner. Do you feel that like our area, if you win our tournament, you're our guy? Absolutely, and not just win, but guys that play well here. I mean, Aaron Rye is on top of the leaderboard, I think tied for the lead right now. What a cool story he has. Plays golf with 2 golf gloves on. It's the way he grew up playing. He still uses iron covers. He may be the only guy on the tour that uses iron covers, but he told a story last year in the media center about getting that first set of clubs as a kid, and he knew how much money his parents had spent on him, so he wanted to protect them. So, really kind of an ode to his parents getting him into the sport, and he almost won here last year. Can you play golf with 2 gloves? Have you even tried to do that? No. The only time I've tried to do it is when it's either really cold or raining, and then I'm thinking, why am I out here anyway? Yeah, what are you doing? My competitive days are well behind me. Well, let's pick your brain, because you're the smartest person in golf in the entire Quad Cities. You have to be, because you're the tournament director of the John Deere Classic, right? That was not a job requisite. Who do you like this week? I did a snake draft yesterday, and I got pick 8. Okay. What would you? I know you don't know the order or something like that, but around pick 8, who would you think would be like guys that you would have been targeting and looking for? See if I did okay. Was Xander or Bryson still there at 8? No, both gone. I'm not going to get the right order, but Scotty's gone. Sure. Rory's gone. Morikawa. Xander. Justin Thomas. That's what I got. Yeah, that's a great pick. Thank you. That's a great pick. But he doesn't do well there. Like his history at the Masters isn't good. but he's playing really good. And he's Justin Thomas.
I mean, who doesn't want Rory to win this week, right?
I don't. I want.
I don't think anybody's ever completed the Grand Slam at the Masters.
Oh, really?
I thought I heard that stat.
So Bobby Metcalf was on yesterday, and that's he picks with his heart every year, and he wants to see that happen. But if I told you can have Scotty or the field, you're taking the field, right?
I mean, you have to, right? I
Just
think you would.
because of all that. I mean,
You're asking me questions that I don't delve in this world. They don't allow me to gamble on golf.
Well, I'm just
so
saying.
I can't even be in a snake
yes,
draft.
I'm not saying we are not exchanging money or anything like that. But like when yeah.
I mean, if you're asking me, yeah, I would take the field.
Yes.
I would take the field. I mean, the law of averages would tell you that you would take the field. But man, Scotty, it's gonna be tough to beat.
He played really well last week, which is kind of, and he feels really good right now, and he's. Usually a confident Scotty's a good bet. The John Deere Classic has 9 champions, I think, there.
Yeah.
And I think all of them can do well. You look Zach. I mean, Zach's won.
There's 4 right now that are even or under par. Brian Harmon, Zach Johnson, Davis Thompson, and Brian Harmon. Did I say Brian Harmon?
You said Brian Harmon twice, but
Jordan Spieth.
Is Spieth out there?
I think Spieth is either even or 1 under.
So I gotta go back. So my second time through, you're gonna yell at me, probably because I didn't take Jordan. So I go 8 and then I go 16 because there's 12 people in it. So at 16, Jordan's there. And me and Wheezy's part of this. We went with Willie Z instead of Jordan Spieth.
Yeah, I mean, Spieth, Jordan and Zach are probably 2 of the Quad Cities' favorite guys that show up here.
Yeah.
And it was great to get Jordan back here last year. But I mean, that wrist injury, it's going to take time. He had surgery. He's been quoted as saying, it's not 100%, and we'll see. But, you think back, I know you were talking to Craig about 2015 and that run, and, it's going to be fun when he gets healthy and gets back on top because, I mean, he can still get it around the golf course, and he's only 31 years old.
That's the thing is I was just going to say he's still young. I mean, 31, he's still got plenty of years left in him to play. And
I mean, he won the Masters at 21.
He was, I mean, and we talked with Craig, but you start going back, and how many years have you been at the John Deere Classic?
This is my 19th.
So I mean, I love reminiscing. I can reminisce. I can do a show. We should do a show. Craig can bring out cigars, and we can sit on my driveway. We get
Claire out here.
Yeah, well, I don't want to do the Andy Claire, and the Andrew Claire question is controversial.
Well, it's really not. It's 2-0.
I've yet to get an Andrew. You need to be nicer to people.
Well, you want to make it 3-0? I'll pick Claire too.
Yeah, well then I think that might be it. I don't know if there's 3 people in the Quad Cities.
I don't have 3 friends, so.
But we talk about years. When Jordan was here, like he spotted the field, Andrew. He no-showed on Thursday. I don't mean that. I mean he was there, and that's how good he can get. And he's the best golfer I've ever seen it with my own 2 eyes.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, I mean you're talking. He was the best player in the world at that point. The entire golf media was telling him not to be here, and he came back. It was unfortunate, I think, for us that we were, moved to August opposite the Olympics in 2016. And, he didn't come back to defend that year. And he was doing that, and I think this speaks volumes to his character. He was doing that out of respect for, I don't want to turn this into a story that I'm skipping the Olympics and going back to defend at the John Deere. So, what he did in 2015, and he almost got it done. He finished a shot back. I think that was the year he hit one way right on 17.
You're talking about over at the Open.
At the Open.
Didn't Zach win that year?
Zach wins, St. Andrews. So
it wasn't like, boy, he shouldn't have gone there or he would have won here because
the
guy who was there won here.
Right.
One thing I don't think I've ever talked to you about, where were you when the Michelle Wie stuff happened?
So she was here in 2005.
Okay, so you weren't yet, or
no? So her first year was 2005.
Okay.
I was still a senior in college. My intern year was 2006, and that was pandemonium. And I think Craig alluded to that.
Where were you where were you at?
I was over by the medical trailer, and not because anybody needed me to be there, but I knew something important was happening.
Yeah.
And you just kind of wanted to take it in, and I mean she was so close. But I remember that year we were wearing shirts on our board and committee and staff that was honoring the American Red Cross. Mm-hmm. And this is before Performance Fabric. It was so hot And I was a medium back then, believe it or not. I mean, I'm not anymore, but
Medium.
I know I wasn't a true medium.
Boy.
But that shirt by the end of the day was a double X because it just absorbed every amount of sweat and stretched out.
Yeah.
And I remember it being that hot but what an awesome ride. And I think that's what makes exemptions so important is the tournament has the right to pick 4 exemptions, whoever they want.
Yeah.
And it's going to drive fan interest and ticket sales and all that. So those are always a factor in, when you make those decisions. And she was certainly, the hottest name in women's golf at that point.
So who are the exemptions this year?
I've committed to one.
Oh, okay.
I have committed to one. I can't tell you who it is yet.
Well, that's no fun.
We have letters from 7 of the top 10 amateurs in the world. And, Noah Kent's on the second page of the leaderboard right now. He certainly would have been somebody that we would consider and still would consider.
Yeah.
I wish he hadn't left Iowa and went to Florida.
You're as a Hawkeye, that's not the best thing in the world to do. When you have so you just said 7 of the top 10. How do you? I mean, they send letters and stuff, correct? And
yeah,
it's got to be hard. Sometimes I'm not going to get into specifics, but sometimes you choose the right ones, and there's too many to choose all the right ones.
Yeah,
not going to get after Claire.
No, that's accurate. And
Claire had a good track record too.
Claire had a great track record,
yeah.
and we've got a 25-year history of identifying the next wave of talent. Look back to 2019. You had Colin Morikawa was here, Matthew Wolff was here, and Victor Hovland was here.
Yeah.
And look at what Hovland and Morikawa are doing now. And Luke Clanton a year ago is playing here on an exemption. He finishes T2. Ultimately goes on to continue to accept exemptions, remain an amateur. I think he left like $2.8 million on the table.
That's crazy.
And I'm sure he's got a nice NIL deal down at Florida State. But, he's earned his PGA Tour card through PGA Tour Accelerated. So he's got a card waiting for him after the NCAAs this year. And, we had, Michael Thorbjornsen was here. Ludwig Aubert was here.
Yeah.
And all these guys have gone on to stardom. So we talk about it all the time, 156 great players. I know you made a mistake on a newscast once and said 136, but 156 great players that can win any given week. And when you look at these exemptions, every single one of these guys is so well prepared with the way and state of college golf right now that they can go out and compete almost immediately.
Somebody just lost clip treatment after that comment.
This is my 4th time on here, and I've been clipped
You
twice.
So you're 2 out of 3 so far.
Yeah, still get you in the Hall of Fame.
Who wins? Not wins. Who does the best? Who's what John Deere Classic champion best translates to what the Masters is? Like, which guy do you think, in your opinion, might have the best week this week? I got a guy that I want to see if you agree with.
Sepp Straka.
Yep.
You want to know why?
And I missed out on him in the pool yesterday, and I was so mad. But go. I have a reason, but I'm stealing Wheezy's.
Well, and Brian Harmon's obviously playing well. Davis Thompson's playing well week in and week out.
Yeah.
Michael Kim got into the field by getting into the top 50 in the world.
He's on Mount Rushmore for some people of the John Deere
Debatable. But Michael Kim is in, and but Sepp Straka, the way that he controls the golf ball from 150 yards and in is going to be paramount this week. Mm-hmm. And I think they said the conditions are supposed to get blustery this weekend, and I think he's a guy that can do really well. Yeah,
I think Wheezy told me between 150 and 170, he's got the best accuracy on tour when it comes to ball striking and all that kind of stuff. I think he can do a really good job. But you mentioned it. There's so many. I mean, we didn't mention Bryson or Jordan when it came to who can do. I mean, those are the 2 biggest names, so there's 2 best odds. But when it comes to ball striking, that kind of stuff, and it's a deep field of guys that can do really, really well when it comes to those kind of things as well. Have you been? How many times have you been to the Masters?
Twice.
What years?
2009, so 2 years after Zach won. Zach won the Masters in 2007. So I went with some buddies that year, and we treated it as a buddies trip.
Yeah, boy.
We indulged in the $1.50 beers,
yes.
And I got the chance in 2016 to take my dad.
Oh, very cool.
So
Who won 2016?
What
day did you go?
I took him on a practice round day because I wanted to take a camera so we could document the day.
Absolutely.
Angel Cabrera won in 2009 when we were there. I couldn't even tell you who won in 2016.
I'm trying to even think. I'm going to mess it.
We
Was
saw
2016 Willett?
Could have been. Could have been.
It might have been Danny Willis.
We saw Monday in the practice round. We were there on a Monday, and then we did Nashville on the way back. We turned it into a guys trip. But
Were you married yet?
oh yeah,
Your wife is awesome.
married with kids. They asked me this morning, when am I taking them? And I said, well, I'm just like everybody else. I got to try to win tickets. And
See, but the best part about that kind of stuff is, and your kids are into golf, but like mine are now starting to get into it more and more, and like it gives you that built-in excuse of like, hey, the kids want to go golf,
right.
and then you can't. I'm just.
It's funny if you and I are out playing.
Yeah.
Maybe we're chastised a little bit when we
Yeah,
get home.
yeah.
But if we're out there with our kids, it's no
Yeah.
one's going to get
Look
on
at
for
those
that.
dads. Look at those dads
Yeah,
being good.
Dad of the year.
The John Deere Classic's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah.
What's preparation like right now for you, for your staff, all those kind of things as you move forward?
Well, we're in full sales mode. The hospitality sales look great, even with the 4th of July falling on Friday. Certainly, we've announced both concerts. We'll start our build here in the next month. So tents will start going up on Deer Run's property here in about a month. And, it's full steam ahead. And we're trying some different things. I know you know this, but we're opening the fairway for an upgraded concert experience on Sunday. We're hoping that we can, in the future, do that on both nights. And, we're working on our exemptions. We're working on the field. And it's rock and roll time, and we've got a Masters viewing party tomorrow for our biggest donors and a big celebration event, and we're just trying to make this thing bigger and better each year, and ultimately drive as much money for charity as we can, and make a big splash and an economic impact in this community.
It is crazy because it's a really good golf tournament, but like you said, it impacts everybody, and there is something for everybody. I know it's cliche to say, but like with the concerts and with everything that goes on, do you know anything about the program yet?
So we've reached out to some guys.
You didn't reach out to me.
I can't get Cooper DeJean's agent to call me back. Because we would love to have Cooper here.
He watches the show.
Do you know how
every
many
day.
people tweeted at me or sent me messages on
Super Bowl Sunday?
No, on Monday. It was Monday morning after the Final Four, so the day of the national championship. Cooper Flagg is out hitting golf balls. Got a great swing. That'd be fun.
Cooper and
So-
Cooper get them both.
Cooper and Cooper. But we ultimately want to have some type of either athlete or celebrity presence here for the program.
And that's, obviously, Caitlin Clark is one of one. When you look at that year, I think it's too recent to look at it as in one of the greatest years. I think maybe in 10 years you look back because of the recency of it. But that year in general, we talk about 15. But when you look at 23, Caitlin Clark. Trying to think who won it in 23. It's not that long ago.
JT Poston.
JT Poston, but then that was
No, I'm sorry. That's Sepp Straka's year.
Sepp won, and then that was probably first year concerts, and
Yeah.
like I just think the energy and the buzz and the excitement of 2023 because of Caitlin. Caitlin was bigger than Bill Murray by far, correct? Or no?
Different crowd.
I'm trying to think. Too. Yeah, totally different.
It's
crowd.
a different crowd, and
And Jordan was also there playing with Bill Murray,
Right.
which made it. But Zach and Caitlin were ridiculously fun.
Well, and we paired her because the Pro-Am has turned into 9. Yeah, we paired her with Ludwig Aubert, and I remember walking with Caitlin to the first tee, and she said, "Who am I playing with outside of Zach?" And I said, "Ludwig Aubert," and she's like, "Who's that?" And I said, "Well, he's the male college golf version of you. He's the next superstar."
Yeah.
And so I think they've struck up a friendship, and they've stayed in touch, and now he's number 4 or 5 in the world, and
She's still doing okay.
she's still doing just fine. Yeah. But to go back to your question, everything that we've always done, we've benchmarked off 2015.
Yep.
Everything that we've done post 2015 has always been measured against that year. And, we did break the money record on Wednesday with Caitlin, but it was adults who were out there to see Bill Murray. We were the busiest youth day in 2023 on the PGA Tour. And to me, when you look at it, both scenarios are great, but in our mission statement, we're trying to grow the game of golf here in the Quad Cities. And by introducing not just young girls to the game of golf by coming out that day, but young boys. It was Caitlin mania, boys and girls, and jerseys and T-shirts and Hawkeye stuff. And to have them may or may not have ever been to the tournament, and now they have, and it's the same thing with the concerts.
Yeah.
It's opening the doors to the John Deere Classic to a whole new group of people who may not have bought a ticket before, but they're like, hey, this is really cool.
That bite's going to play well on social media right there.
There you go.
There's your clip tree.
Don't forget me today.
Yeah, but when you think, talk about that, because you remember 2023. I remember like walking around and Wheezy and I would kind of joke like, well, he's there for the concert and he's there for golf. You could kind of tell. I mean, there were people there for both. It wasn't one or the other, but there was probably 10% that was there for just whatever percentage it was there for the concert. And then there's probably people that didn't even care about the concert. They were just there for the golf. And then a lot that it checks 2 boxes. But those people probably might come back. If there's 10 people that came there just for the concert, 5 of them might come back, 7 might come back just because they like the golf as well.
Well, and we look at the metrics and we can track the data. And Scott County and Rock Island County are the 2 largest counties of ticket holders that come to the event, and that is natural. That's what it should be. Cook County is number 3. So, Chicago's number 3. And we've always kind of viewed ourselves in a 2.5-hour radius. It's now expanded to about 4. St. Louis is in there now. There's Indianapolis, Minneapolis. We're starting to kind of change our market.
Is that too? Is that because of the?
It has to be.
Yeah.
It has to be. Yeah.
It's growing the, and again, they're bringing their money to our community and they're bringing their money to our charities.
They're eating in restaurants. They're staying in hotels. They may be shopping at local businesses.
Yeah.
And, all that is factored into the economic impact. And we take a ton of pride in that. And, going back to 2023, that was my second year as tournament director. Claire was executive director in 2022. It was my first year flying.
That thing was so confusing.
I know, right?
Because I was like, hey, Claire's like, oh, I'm really not. I'm like, we are. Okay, go ahead.
And he went through.
It was a good idea, but
he went through a wide range of emotions in 2022, and I remember him texting me on Sunday saying, hey, I don't think I can do the trophy presentation. It's gonna be too emotional.
Wow. Yeah.
And I told him, I said, hey, I'm happy to do it, but let's make that call on the fly because I think you're gonna regret your last year not doing the trophy presentation. Ultimately, he did. But 2023, banner year for us. It was really the change in the mindset of what the John Deere Classic is, and sports in general. We were slow to come back out of the pandemic, and people, the marketplace wasn't great. We need people with disposable income. That's why offering kids 15 and under for free to come to the John Deere Classic, and that's regardless of if we're sold out or not on the weekend. We want to make it accessible for families. But I remember getting to Saturday, and the Darius Rucker show is about to happen, and I was about to vomit because I didn't know that we had made the right decision. And looking back at it, 2.5 years ago, it is ultimately the right decision.
What was fun then was because you knew it was the right decision. I'm like a karma guy or a fate guy sometimes, and like nothing bad happened that week because rain, horrible heat, all those kind of things. There's so many things that can throw a monkey wrench into the plan, and everything for the most part. Obviously, people can nitpick of bathrooms there's more of now and all that kind of stuff, but everything just went off like perfectly, and you knew then and there. It's like this, and not just because you're sitting up in here, because I think it's the best event the Quad Cities has to offer. And it's not like in taking nothing away from great traditions and sports traditions and now concert traditions. It's like having if the Bix and the Mississippi Valley Fair were all on the same day. That's kind of what the John Deere Classic is. It's a great sporting event and a great concert all in the same weekend, if you will.
Yeah, and I think living here and now having lived here for almost 19 years, I think that's what makes the Quad Cities so great, is especially in the summer. There's so many festivals. The Bix is great. The Mississippi Valley Fair is great. And you've got all these things, these festivals, even, the Pops concert down on the river. And, we're blessed with all these things that we can do to entertain families, to, have a night out with your significant other, your spouse, or whatever it may be. And, we are happy to be, a part of that and have the John Deere Classic here every year. And we're probably within the bottom 3 in terms of market size on the PGA Tour, and certainly probably the smallest in the regular schedule that isn't counting some of the fall events. But I think that's what makes the John Deere Classic so great. And from a Bears fan to a Lions fan, we say this all the time. We are the Green Bay Packers of the PGA Tour.
Yeah,
and
in a good way.
In a good way. And the colors obviously go hand in hand, but in a good way, because this is a community event.
Yeah.
And the community should take pride in having a professional sporting event right here.
Oh, yeah.
Because without John Deere, if this thing goes away, it's gone. And gone with that is, the charity impact. Not that donors wouldn't still support their favorite charity, but the economic impact goes away. And all those things are vital, to the, success of the Quad Cities region.
I want to talk to you about recruiting and how you get to it and when it all comes into form. I want to get an update on the Masters. I want to talk to you about Iowa basketball. You're going to keep hanging out. We're going to hit a quick break, our first break of the day, find out who's doing what at the Masters and all of those kind of fun things, and then we got much more to get to. Andrew Lehman is hanging out in my loft. Is it warm enough?
It's great in here.
All right, we'll be right back. You're watching Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197 and find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Have you looked at the board?
I have.
And it's good?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Rye's still playing well, and a name I almost gave you was Robert McIntyre. I thought he was going to play well.
Why didn't you give it to me? Oh,
I can't give you all the secrets.
I'm still, and Wheezy might be watching. My whole weekend is gonna like whether Willie Z or Jordan Spieth do better because I love Jordan. I'd love to see Jordan do well, and he's 2 under through 3.
Yeah.
Aaron Rye's at the top. Zach's kind of come back down to earth a little bit, but Jagerbaum.
Steven
Yeager's there, and he's been to the Johnny
He's been
Classic
here,
before.
yeah.
So you're looking at all these, and you know these names by heart and all that kind of stuff. What's the courting process like? I know I've asked you this so many times, but like I do my dad's golf outing, and I'm just getting teams or people, like we try to get like, you know, former players and former sports people from the area to come, and getting them to like commit. It's like always nerve wracking for me. That's just a little memorial golf outing. Can it be nerve-wracking at times to kind of track these guys down, get commits, all those kind of things?
Yeah, I mean, you go out and you're selling the golf tournament, you're selling the golf course, and you're selling the community. And, you know, the perks that come with that. And there's times when you're standing on a driving range or a putting green at another event that, you know, you might get 30 seconds with a guy and you might get 5 minutes. And, you know,
do you know?
You can tell.
Okay.
I waited my very first solo recruiting trip. So Claire had retired, and I went to the Arnold Palmer in Orlando. And I remember I had just talked to Jordan Spieth, and I was waiting to talk to Ricky Fowler, and he hit balls for 7 hours that day.
Ricky did. And so you knew he was grinding. You knew he was working on something. So I didn't end up talking. I didn't end up getting a chance to talk to him that day. I caught him the next morning. But you can tell when they're working on something. Sometimes, you know, you have a little pre-conversation or just, you know, even a look with the caddy, and the caddy will be like, not today. And you're there. You know, you've got your John Deere Classic logo on, and typically you're not the only tournament director standing on the range. You know, you're trying to get time with them, and ranges are busy, but it's a universe of small people. It's a small universe of people. Yeah.
It's a traveling road show.
Yeah.
So once you've done it a few times, it's the same group.
Do you know other tournament directors, and you're like, hey, I got him? I mean, do you?
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to say coordinate, but like yours is before mine, so I'll let you go, or how do you?
Not like that. But yeah, I mean, hey, what kind of mood's he in?
Yeah.
You know, how was he? Hey, what's the caddy's name? Did he switch caddies?
Yeah.
And Claire used to go out early in the year, like January, and I have kind of adjusted that a little bit. We go out in April, May, and I'll make one last trip in June. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to try to sneak across the border to Toronto, up to that event, the Canadian Open, or if I'm going to go back to the Memorial over in Ohio. But we'll spend some time down in Texas. I was trying to get to Myrtle Beach. I couldn't make that one work. But it's fun. I mean, and I don't ask them if they're coming. I tell them we'd love if it fit in their schedule, but I don't ask them. I don't want to put them on the spot.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, I mean, hey, and I think when you looked at it earlier in the year, it was a great opportunity to talk to the next young group that had just gotten their tour card, but nobody knows their schedule in January or February.
Yeah.
They start to hone in on it in April, May, and June. And, you know, fortunately for us, you know, June 30th through July 6th, there's no signature events after us. Certainly the playoffs are, but there's no signature events after us.
But that's probably
it's a good thing.
A good thing, because people that want to make the playoffs might need to come here to play.
Yeah, and you're chasing those guys that are chasing points towards the end of the year. You know, those are a great time to have conversations, and we stay in constant touch with agents throughout the entire process.
If you get 30 seconds with a golfer, like what's the spiel? Do you have like, here's my, like, knowing like, hey, this is gonna be quick? Do you have like a quick?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and especially early on, you know, it was an introduction. You know, Claire had done it all those years, and I had gone on a few with him, but it was more of an introduction than, hey, you know, we want to do this. I think if you watch golf, and I try to watch as much golf as I can. It's hard with kids. Hey, you know, that 7-iron that you hit 2 weeks ago, and then they light up.
Yeah.
Or, you know, there was a moment on the first year of Full Swing where Meredith Scheffler was eating popcorn in the hotel bed, and it just annoyed Scotty to death.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, my wife thinks it's okay to eat popcorn in bed too. Like, we have the same struggle, like those things, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to humanize the conversation.
Yeah, you're not just going in there with 30 seconds saying,
Yeah.
hey, here's what I want,
No.
here's what I need, all that kind of stuff. It's funny because in a much different way because of what you're doing, but similar. You go up there on Monday, Tuesday out of the range, and you got guys up there, and are they going to talk? Are they not going to talk to you? And there's some guys that get there early, and God, I'm trying to think of who recently was there, and you just don't know. You look at caddies, and I almost just kind of like look at a caddy, and I'm like, is he? And sometimes they're, hey, I got to get going. Sometimes they're like, yeah, I can get a couple questions. Sometimes they're like, hey, yeah, we're good. Take your time. Like, because I'm always like, okay, you got to go places. The fun one for me was VJ Singh one time. I don't know if I ever told you this story of all people. And myself and Dale Ryman, he had just got done behind the trailer, and it was a hot day. And back in those days, those cameras would overheat pretty quick. And he all came, and we had the big group going at him, and I pushed the button, and it was just overheated. And so I'm opening things up, cooling things down, and he's talking away. And finally, I get it to start recording when he said, "Okay, thanks," and walks on the trailer, and I'm like, oh, we don't have VJ Singh. So we go, and you know where everything's at, but there's the trailer right behind the clubhouse, and like Dale's kind of giving me this look like, man, we're in trouble, blah blah. I'm like, no, let's go. And we ran, and we caught him right by the deer statue, and I'm like just huffing him. I'm like, Mr. Singh, I didn't get any of that interview. My camera overheated. Is there any chance I could ask you just one or two questions here real fast? And he's like, hey, get your breath. You can ask 4 or 5 questions. I got plenty of time.
That's
and
great.
It was great. It was awesome. And then I got back in the trailer and I was like, I just got a one-on-one with VJ Singh.
I thought that story was going in an entire different direction.
No, he was great to me. Yeah, you never know. But it was...
It depends on their mood in the day.
I hate the hardest... I don't want to say the hardest 2 holes of the course. But 9's no picnic.
Right.
And 18, I mean, it's not... but it's not the easiest hole. So those are the last 2 holes they got coming in. So they can have a great round.
Right.
And then all of a sudden on 9, they bogey. And they're in a cranky mood, and you can tell. Yeah. Like I've had, and I know Zach well. I'm not as close of friends with him as you are, but like I know Zach well. He knows me, and like there was a time he golfed well, but it was a Saturday. It was rainy, and I wasn't even out there. Our show was done, and Corey and I were just getting a little video. We got a birdie of him and stuff for the 10 o'clock show, and I was getting sound for KCRG, the Cedar Rapids, but it was us two just kind of following them, and one newspaper. I want to say it was Michael Halas or something like that. And we had a long Saturday. We tried to get a bunch in. There was rain on Friday, and he golfed well. And he came out and he sees me. He goes, "Come on, Daz, are we gonna do this?" I'm like, "I kind of wanted to." He's like, "It's been a long day for everybody." I'm like, "I'm fine. You're good." And he's like, "Okay, thanks." And off he went. And like I looked over at Mike, and Mike's like, he's my whole story. That's what I've been here all day to do. So like, anyway, I don't know if but that's Zach usually is great to us, but you can tell if they can have a great round. Yeah. And that one last hole is like, stay away and all that kind of thing.
And I think, God bless him, but I think he gets pulled.
Oh my goodness.
In Zach? 1,000 different directions when he's here. And, he's got family that's here, and he's got his foundation event that week. Yeah. And, there's a lot of things that are happening with foundation auction things that happen at the John Deere Classic. So there's a lot going on in his mind. I
just usually have to say something about the Hawkeyes.
Oh yeah.
And he's just like, oh, but that real quick too with Zach. So it's different now because of the way we do the interviews and stuff like that. But back then it was just like just everybody hoarded around him. Yeah. So like and you're looking back when you're looking at 3 stations from Cedar Rapids, all of our stations. Des Moines was down here. This is Zach, and then back in the day. With Strick, it was, Peoria all came up and Madison came down and right. There was just a ton of local, especially. And so Zach was coming around one time, and I would just grab everybody's microphones and help out. And like, cause Wheezy's or whoever was shooting at the time. And so you got to get out of the way in these big ears. So I get down on my knees, and I can say this cause it's on YouTube, but I was down on my knees one time, and Zach came around, he looks down, and he goes, "This is awkward." And I said, "It's awkward in this angle too. It's no picnic down here either." So Zach's a fantastic. I get along with him great. He's such a good guy. But yeah, the pull for him being back home, and the Spieth too, all those guys. The year that Jordan came back, and how gracious he was. Not last year, but the time before that, when he would come back and won in 2015. He's the biggest name in sports at that time, right? Wouldn't you say? Yeah. And he gave every single day. He was gracious with us and talked with us, and he doesn't have to.
He gets it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so who's coming?
That's a good question.
156th the world's best golfers.
No, we had 9 top 50 guys in the world here last year. I think it was 8 the year before. It had been a number of years since we had anybody in the top 50 here, and right now I think I checked before our executive committee meeting, we had 6 that were in the field as of right now.
Oh wow, okay.
And there's a bunch of guys that aren't on the list yet, and you start to look at the official world golf ranking, and in the top 50, there's a ton of guys that play here regularly. Sepp's in there, JT Poston's in there, Denny McCarthy, all those guys that stay in the same house.
I got Denny on my.
Dude, Denny's awesome.
And then his putters he can get hot. He wouldn't be around.
I told him last year. There's a picture of the two of us. I had my hands on his shoulders, and
Why?
I said, hey, you're going to win this event someday. I mean, you play this golf course so well. And he's such an awesome guy. It would be awesome to see him win here. I'd love Joel Damon to win the John Deere Classic. What a awesome guy he is. And so,
do you have a?
I didn't answer your question. I kind of skirted.
You did good. 6 already is really good.
We're sitting in a good spot.
I mean, because what are we 3 months out? April, May,
June. 80. Yeah, close. Yep.
I mean, you got plenty of time.
2.5.
Yeah. No, that's the thing too is the fields the last 2 years too have been really, really strong, and we know it because we do a pool, and it's like you have people to pick from because it's been good. Do you have a favorite golfer? Can you? And if you can't, what's Ethan's favorite golfer? If that makes it easier, so you don't I don't want to. Because people watch this. I don't want this to get back to
no.
Zach gets mad because Spieth is named or whatever, and they both watch every day.
I'll tell you, my 11-year-old Ellie's favorite golfer is Scotty Scheffler. I would tell you, I think Ethan's is probably Rory.
Whose was yours growing up?
Payne Stewart.
Okay.
And then Tiger.
Yeah.
I mean,
So you're a Tiger guy.
I was a Tiger guy. For what he did for the sport and the longevity and how dominant he was. I don't know that I have a favorite. I've only had in 19. Jason Day is awesome. I mean, I remember him remembering my name. I was walking around the Dallas event, down in Dallas, Texas, and I practiced round. He saw me from across the way. Hey, Andrew. I mean, they're all good guys.
Yeah.
And I've only had one.
Are they all good guys?
I think for the most part. I've only had one bad interaction, and it was in 2023, standing on the driving range at the Memorial. And I won't tell you who it is. Prominent player, plays in the TGL events that are that are happening. And hey, so and so, and he just stiff armed me. And the Memorial, Jack likes to treat everything as a replica of the Masters.
Yeah.
The concession stands are done that way. They've got a bleacher that kind of spans the driving range, maybe 5 or 6 rows deep. And there was an opening right in the middle to go to the 10th tee. And I get kind of stiff-armed by this player, and there's about 6 fans sitting in the bleacher. And I'm just head to toe John Deere Classic. And the one guy goes, I don't think that went well for you. And I had Sue Rector with me at the time, who was our 2023 chair. And I'm like, Sue, come on, we got to skirt down to the other side of the range. And fortunately, we ran into Kevin Kisner, who's just an awesome, awesome guy.
Yeah.
And ended up chatting with him. And
Makes you feel a little better.
He's like, you Claire's replacement? I said, yep. He goes, Claire quit? I said, well, he retired. He goes, nah, he quit. So it was a great 180 from being shunned, and the guy that he didn't play well that week. So
and you were okay with that?
I was okay with in the moment, yeah.
So you still didn't tell me who your favorite golfer was. You're not gonna. You don't have to.
I got a lot. I root for a lot of guys. And you talk about guys that get it. Ludwig Aubert didn't come back last year because of the Olympics, and our title sponsor rep at Deere got a note, and I got a note of why he wasn't coming back. So you find these guys that you can root for. And like I said, you said, we kind of embrace our own.
Yeah.
And
Jason Day's sleepy, really.
He's an
Jason
awesome
Day.
guy.
We did I've told this story too many times, but we did when he ran the course, and just as down to earth. And I swear he felt like he was going to hang out with us for a half hour. He was just
taking the charter to the Open, and he's done at 9 a.m.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to go watch a movie. My wife wanted to do this, that. He was just so, and then, of course, he kept calling people mate.
Yeah.
And so
cheers, mate.
I did that.
Yeah, it doesn't go over well.
Didn't work. People
it doesn't land well.
They got annoyed with that real quick.
You know who else is a really good guy? And he's got a really, it's a sad story with his daughter, is Camilo Villegas. His daughter passed away.
Yep.
But he's an awesome guy. Pat Perez was an awesome guy, when he was playing on the tour. So there's a lot of great guys. And during tournament week, we have the Big Dig, which is the player party out at the John Deere test site. And I think that's a really fun night because you get to see these guys in an untucked T-shirt with a pair of shorts on and maybe some flip-flops and a backwards hat.
Yeah.
And they're just like us. They happen to be better ball strikers than us and better putters. And, they're really good at the sport they play.
They're better people than us.
For sure.
Yeah.
And they have more money than us.
Yes.
But
I do remember, and I just talked about this last night. Is it Anaveros' event?
Yeah.
What is it? The
Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Is it Big Brothers, Big Sisters, or Boys and Girls Club?
Boys and Girls. No. Yeah, Boys and Girls Club.
Both are great organizations.
Boys and Girls Club. Yes.
So either way, we're good. But Jordan went out and played it one year.
Brian Harmon went out and played it.
Was it
one
like
year.
a Tuesday? Did he hit it on a Tuesday?
Yeah.
And I remember we may have talked to Jordan, but he and he was young. He was of age, totally of age, but still he was like, he didn't like the fact that he was just hanging out drinking a beer. And it was just like, not that he just didn't want us to see that, just because there's kids around and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, no, you're good. But just same thing, shorts,
yep.
Which at the time was different. And then untucked shirt and just hanging out, being a guy. They're all, he came back in 14, didn't he, Jordan?
Yeah, so he played on an exemption in 2012.
Yep.
Made the cut.
1 in 13.
1 in 13. I believe he top 10'd or top 15 in 2014 and then 1 in 2015.
When he came back for the press conference, the media day. We got him downstairs in the locker room and talk about just and it was him and...
I believe it's in the intro to your show.
Yeah, that's exactly the one. Yeah.
Room,
But the thing you don't see is afterwards we were there so early because you guys made us be there so early that he just hung out down the locker room. And so it was me, Wheezy, I think his agent, and him for like a half hour just hanging out, just at a table talking. And he's just like, yeah, it was when he's younger, of course. He's like, I'm starting to find out that my biggest demographic for fans are teenage girls and 40-year-old men. And Wheezy goes, that's me. I hit the demographic. He's like, yep. So, and I was like, I'm in there as well.
Did he scoot back in his chair a little bit?
Yeah, he should have. Well, Wheezy, when he gets excited, the high pitch, he gets a little high pitch. So he nailed that one. I do have to let you go, but Iowa basketball, I talk to you about it every time. How are you feeling? You're still happy? You're still good?
Yeah, I'm ecstatic. It stinks that we missed on a couple of the guys, right? That I thought we had a chance to get back.
But they didn't go to anywhere that we have to deal with them at. That's what I liked.
Yeah, no, I mean, guys that end up at Creighton, I can root for them at Creighton.
Yeah.
I can't root for them at Illinois. And I love Brad Underwood. I as an Iowa guy, I love Brad Underwood. Indiana would have hurt. That would have hurt big time. So,
do you because do you still do Illinois Day? An Iowa Day, those don't. I mean, but back when it was.
Well, we had Zach and Stricker, and it made a ton of sense.
100%.
We also had hospitality from their foundation.
Well, and there was also they weren't alone. The other Illini guys. I'm trying to think.
We had Da Points who was here, and there's been a long.
There was more Illini guys than Iowa guys.
I mean, Illinois has got a long history of guys playing here on exemptions too.
But there's a good amount of Illinois fans, is what I'm saying. So
absolutely,
it's a good. Tie to the area and
I love that their football coach is an Iowa guy with a Tiger Hawk tattoo on his leg.
Not a bad thing.
I had somebody say, I know you gotta let me go, but I had somebody say to me congratulations for Drake, and I said Drake would have beaten the brakes off Iowa last year.
Yeah, no, that's the biggest thing is people are like, so you guys are just the Iowa Bulldogs. I'm like, you mean the team that actually made the NCAA tournament and won a game?
Won a game and played a really fun style of basketball.
Do you think anybody listened to this?
To me?
Yeah, not just to you, but we just kind of... The best interviews that I do are the ones that I forget that people are actually listening to us chat as well. which is scary because on Mondays, when Pat's on, I completely forget.
Pat had a controversial take.
He did. You know what his new nickname is?
Yeah.
He's calling himself Robin Hood.
Oh, well.
Because he's do you understand?
I mean, I don't know that you can give yourself a nickname, but whatever.
He texted it.
I mean, if he did it, but
he's excited for Monday. He's excited to come back on Monday.
Yeah, he's probably.
Well, I forget sometimes, and that was the way it was when I used to do TV with him and other people. Like you forget that, like you're on. Like I forget people can actually be watching this conversation. I'm glad I didn't say anything stupid, real stupid. I'm sure I said something stupid. I didn't say 136 of the world's best golfers. I did that, didn't I?
Soon to be 144 next year.
But I see. I was
You'll have to keep that. You maybe get you a little sticky note.
Why did I say that? When was that? That was for the concert, the very first concert?
Yeah, and the best part is you said, what are you going to say, 156 of the world's best? And then you get live on TV at 5 o'clock and you're like 136 of the world's best. And I'm going, it's like that meme with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yep. You're getting good with the hands. You're not nearly as... Have you worked on it? Do you have a coach?
No, today this coat, like the neck's bothering me, and it's wanting to so I'm
I don't
handsy.
feel like we've name dropped enough. Does Todd Hajduk do anything out there anymore? I haven't seen Todd in forever. Is he still bad at golf?
Did you hear that I yelled at him last year during tournament week? Allegedly.
I think I did hear.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think I did.
I have no recollection, but I apparently just came unglued on Todd last year.
But it was like, was it a stray
bullet?
Was it a stray bullet? Like, were you mad about something else?
No, he was out there trying to direct traffic with where restrooms should go before the concerts, and I apparently chased him down and told him.
Why do I think you were cranky on? Weren't you cranky on like Monday?
I don't know.
I gotta be careful because
these things are they're all blurred into one big beating. I don't know.
So has he talked to you since you went off on him? Is that what you're saying?
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
saying, Todd,
No.
you haven't talked since last year's John Deere Classic?
He's probably bought me lunch a few times. So
because you yelled at him?
Because he was in the wrong.
But you don't remember why?
Oh, I've heard why.
Oh.
I just didn't remember when I was told the story.
Should we have you both on the show together?
Could be a therapy session.
We as like a talk show.
If we do it in my office, can I lay on my couch?
Yeah.
It'd be like a therapy session.
Yes. Did I tell you that I went to the Heritage Ball at Alleman, and you know who's like emceeing and doing the auction? Decker Plain.
Decker Plain cuts a wide swath.
It's amazing.
I don't know that he has the ability to say no.
Jen's like, is that Decker? I'm like, nah, yeah. Like, it can't not be.
And by the way, every event that gets Decker to host or MC something, you're better off for it because he has an uncanny ability to get in people's wallets.
Oh,
it's unbelievable.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
He's got a heart of gold. And,
Yes.
and our nonprofits in town and foundations are lucky to have him.
Yes. No, they are. Okay, we can go through your board and make fun of people all we want, but we'll do that at a later date. So thanks for doing this.
Appreciate you.
Enjoy the Masters.
Thanks for turning the heater on before I got here.
I moved it because my wife looks at the big shot and she's like, there's cords, there's this.
I see the same thing. Like some days there's a rogue water bottle. Some day Dan Campbell is facing you for some reason.
There was one you did call
I
me because it was
texted you.
a
There's
Sharpie.
there's a highlighter that's
Yes.
been laying there for a week.
Like, will you please move that? I'm like, I'm on it. So hey, thanks for doing this.
I didn't bring any gifts today. By
I
the
know.
way.
Well, I mean, I got this and I got to get on the wall. If I didn't have, and I like to say like I ran kids around for baseball and everything last night, but my wife did all that because I had that draft for the Masters. But
God bless
if I
her.
wouldn't have done that,
Because I had that draft.
Well, I don't do it very often, and I'm not like, but I'm really good at nights running things around. That was the one I finally just said. I'm like, hey, Wednesday, I'm kind of out of commission, and
We all strived to outkick our coverage.
oh
and
my
you certainly
gosh,
did.
she bless her heart. So, all right, buddy, enjoy the Masters. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we got more to get to. I'm going to try to get to my one shot. So, there we go. We got much more to get to coming up. After the break, Andrew's talking about the Iowa Hawkeyes and all that kind of stuff. We do have Tom Kakert with some updates on the transfer portal, talking about a little bit about the new member of the staff as well. So Tom Kakert and much more straight ahead on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo.
Quad Cities, it's time to bring the noise. Saturday night, April 12th, the Steamwheelers take on the Barnstormers in a hard-hitting Union Night showdown. We're honoring area Union members with a night of football action and ice-cold beers for only $1. Union members receive $5 off ticket thanks to Tri-City Building Trades Council and Union Locals 91, 25, and 145. Round up your crew and come cheer on the Whalers. Get your tickets at steamwheelersfootball.com/tickets. And we'll see you on April 12th.
All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. You know, I started this podcast about 3 months ago, a little more than 3 months ago, and it's my goal in life to put this man's face on camera as much as possible. And I almost got through a week without doing it, Tommy. And I got to give the ladies what they want. And so for the 3 girls that probably watch the show, no, that's not true. Tom Kakert, everyone. How are you, buddy?
Good to be back on all ears.
I got to get rid of these headphones so I can see these. That's the best part of doing this show, Tommy, is that, like I always said, I go from being like a 3 to like a 10, probably not a 10, maybe like a 6, a 5. Probably not.
Can we do like 10 minutes on youth baseball? Can we do 10 minutes on youth baseball? I got lots of opinions from having coached it for a long time, but not for several years now, obviously.
I'm excited for Monday because Patrick is changing the world one show at a time, and we'll talk about that on Monday. But no, we're not going to talk about youth baseball. You're going to try to get me in trouble again. And I love youth baseball. I love youth sports in general. They're all fantastic, and there's nothing wrong with any of them. You know, it's crazy because it's April, Tom, and back in the day, April for college basketball was really chill, and there wasn't a lot going on. And that's not the case anymore. 1, because Iowa made a coaching change. And then 2, the transfer portal is free agency of college basketball. Let's start with the coaching change because we know the head coach and we're slowly starting to fill out that staff. Iowa added a pretty good one on Wednesday when it comes to a Texas Tech former assistant coach coming back to Iowa. Tell us about him.
Yeah, Luke Barnwell is good assistant coach and comes with a good reputation for being able to recruit pretty well. Had some ties to Sunrise Christian Academy. Remember Gable Ashemi played there, but he didn't. Luke was not there at the time, but it's still a place that Iowa has been able to get a player out of at least, and he also has some ties to the MOCAN program out of Kansas City. Josiah Harrington's playing for that team right now. But you go back in the day, that was Michael Porter Jr., Trey Young, guys like that played in that program. So a really good Nike program that perhaps he can get some players out of here in the near future.
I think it's a really good hire with the resume. Is there a reason? Did he have good personal connection with Ben McCullum, or kind of talk about why leave a program like Texas Tech that had a really good season and head to Iowa? Is there a reason why, or obviously a good get regardless?
Yeah, I think there was a chance to advance a little bit more, maybe expand your horizons a little bit. And I know that Coach McCullum will trust what Luke knows and how he's going to be able to coach, because one of Ben McCullum's closest friends in the business is Grant McCaslin, who's the head coach down at Texas Tech. They're very close friends. Actually, it's wild that they played. That was Drake's last game playing against Texas Tech in the NCAA tournament, and it was a tight game until the last half of the second half when Tech kind of opened it up a little bit.
Actually, but, Tommy, I think it was Missouri that they played in the NCAA tournament.
Well, then the second game they played Texas Tech.
Oh, you're right.
After Drake won.
Yeah, and I'll just be quiet. I'll just be quiet and sit here. But they also played in the in the preseason as well, or the exhibition season,
Yes.
the quiet scrimmage season as well. That's what I was thinking as well.
Secret scrimmage,
Yeah.
The secret scrimmage, they played that
Sure.
too. So
Sure.
But yeah, they played their against Texas Tech, lost. Kind of was like 77-64, I think. Was the final in the NCAA tournament game. So bottom line is that I know that that Ben McCollum's going to feel comfortable with Luke coming in, and he'll understand his system and the values that are important in his program.
We know a little more about the staff with that addition. I think there's one more that people know that hasn't been officially announced, but when you look at this staff as a whole, your thoughts on putting together a staff, because everything happens so quickly, putting the staff together, putting the roster together now. I think people focus on the roster these days, Tommy, because that's what everybody talks about. Staff's very important. Talk about the staff and your thoughts of what Ben McCollum has done since he's been to Iowa.
I think you have to hire people that you're comfortable with, and that's what he's done. He's hired people that he's familiar with, comfortable with, that he's not going to have to train a whole lot. They're going to know how he likes to operate day to day. And to me, that is important in this job, because his focus is going to have to be on a much larger job at the University of Iowa and the demands that's going to place on you. So he won't have to be doing kind of on-the-job training with his assistants, and they know what he looks for in evaluation of players. They know what he expects in practice. So from that perspective, I think it's a solid staff that's going to be able to teach what he needs to teach. Now, I think hiring Luke is important because he's been out there recruiting a little bit more at a little different level, and perhaps he'll be able to bring in some players. And the rest of this staff is going to have to continue to elevate who they recruit. But the way things are today, it is so transactional more than it is building a relationship. And I know you were talking to Coach Sash about that on Wednesday, just about how recruiting has changed, and because it's a transaction now more than it is a relationship.
You mentioned Coach Sash, and it was fun to have him on yesterday. And there's so many things to talk to him about. And he's had an interesting journey, Tommy, when it comes to getting back to Iowa City, of course, the place where his brother played football, and really cool. Talk to him about, playing Tyler growing up and how competitive he was. But kind of just your thoughts on Josh in general. I know you don't know him a lot and have reached out to him, but it's a really cool story inside a story, getting him back at the University of Iowa. The family has good ties there, and he, like he said, he grew up a Hawkeye. He's another person on that staff, like Ben McCollum, who grew up wanting to be a Hawkeye.
Yeah. I did. If we've exchanged a couple of messages, I just said I've been at this long enough that I covered your brother. All the way back when Tyler was. I remember when Tyler came in as a recruit for a basketball. This was back when they used to still have shirts and skins, and I met Tyler the first time. I think he was going in maybe his sophomore year, or even freshman year. He was playing for Martin Brothers, for my buddy Hank Huddleston. And I remember Tyler being a hotshot basketball kid at that point, and then he ends up being, a football player and playing in the NFL for several years. And but that's my first recollection of Tyler, was meeting him on a Saturday morning before an Iowa football game. That means I'm old.
Yeah.
I'm really old.
Yeah, I said to him too, Tom, because, I talked to him off camera about, I remember covering Tyler, and it wasn't yesterday. It wasn't, it's been a minute since he's been at the University of Iowa, so we've been at this way too long. You probably just as long, if not longer than I have, and means that people probably are getting tired of us, but that's besides the point. Tom, everybody's talking about that transfer portal. There was a dead period, and Coach Sash kind of talked about it a little bit yesterday, where from Thursday to Thursday they had to shut it down so that, they wanted to focus on the NCAA tournament, the Final Four, all that kind of stuff. I guess it's kind of funny because, yes, they had to shut it down visits-wise and all the contact-wise. Who knows if that actually happens? I'm not saying at the University of Iowa, but in general, who knows who follows what rules anymore. But Iowa has some openings. They have some spots to fill. What are some names that are starting to be linked to the University of Iowa? Obviously, nothing that's done. I'm not putting you on the spot about that, but what are some names kind of being linked with the University of Iowa?
Well, I'll tell you one of the players that is coming for sure is a kid that signed with Drake in the fall. Tate Sage, who's a 6'7" forward from Oklahoma. He's a high school player down there, Weatherford, Oklahoma, guard forward, great kid. From what I understand, I was talking to one of his coaches tonight. Was AAU coach, and it sounds like he's definitely coming to Iowa to play for Coach McCollum, and they're just totally sold on him. Just love Coach McCollum. So he's very excited. I imagine he's probably one of the guys that's going to visit this weekend to kind of get a feel for Iowa and make sure that this is where he wants to be. But I think that's the plan. From the portal guys, it sounds like our friend Chad Lysico was visiting with Coach McCollum. I had written something like 2 days ago about just exactly what they might be looking for, and I said 4, potentially 5 guys, and that's exactly what McCollum told Chad. So he's obviously reading my material and operating based on what I tell him to do.
Yeah.
Kidding, folks. I'm kidding. Brendan Hauser is one of the guys to watch. Kansas State kid, 10.4 points per game. Shot 42% from three beyond 25 feet, from 25 feet or out.
Oh wow.
42%. So he is actually a Chris Kingsbury. I was bummed on Wednesday to see that Carter Kingsbury hit the portal. So it's going to be basically, we'll see if anybody besides Cooper Koch is back, but it might be just, other than Cooper, it might end up being there's only Nate Cook's the only one that's left. And then if he doesn't come back, it's everybody except Cooper will be new. Wild.
Yeah.
It's just wild. But that's the world we live in. A couple of other guards to watch. Wes Ennis, who's a D2 guard that, from what I understand, Coach McCollum recruited him and they have a relationship. So I was just watching some tape on him on Wednesday night, and looks like a really interesting player. And we know that Coach McCollum is going to be comfortable bringing a D2 guard up and thinking that they can play at this level. So he might be a name to watch. Honor Huff is another guy that's interesting. He's 5'10", he's smaller, from Tennessee Chat, but boy, he shoots a lot of threes. So he might be a guy that you watch. And a big guy, Duke Brennan from Grand Canyon, is a guy to watch. He's announced some visits, including one to Iowa on the 18th and 19th. He's 6'10", got a good frame to him. Not overly athletic, but nimble around the rim is the way I would put it. Not a guy who's going to do pick and pops or anything, but good screen setter, good on the pick roll, knows how to get himself open around the rim and finish around the rim.
Tom, because it's funny, you look on X and there's something crazy and different all the time, but it's weird to preach patience during the transfer portal because everything happens so quick. We've called it speed dating for so long.
I keep having to do that to people. They're already freaking out, and I'm like, dude's been on the job for a little over 2 weeks.
It's not long-term patience, but you got to give them a couple weeks to see what happens before the sky is falling by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, and people are like, "Oh, he's just bringing in all of his Drake players, the Iowa Bulldogs, and all that stuff." And I'm like, he's bringing in good players. He's bringing in players that are going to help. Now, are all of them going to start? No, probably not. And he's, what I was told privately by some people in the last 2 days was that Coach McCollum's felt pretty good about the reception that he's gotten when he and his assistants are calling some of these kids in the portal. They're very receptive to the call. It's not like they're hanging up and saying, "Hey, we don't want to talk to you," or "We're not interested in Iowa." Of course, if I'm offering, somebody's offering me a good chunk of change, I'll listen to them. That's what you do. So, especially if you're a college kid who hasn't maybe gotten a lot of financial inducements, if you will, for your career, they're going to be receptive to listening to these phone calls. So now it's about sealing the deal with a few guys, and if they can do that and fill out this roster, then I saw. Did you see John Fanta from Fox? He had Iowa as number 25.
25. Yes, I was going to bring that up to you. Brian Stocking sent that to me. He was pretty. It's crazy to do.
Stockpile.
Anytime somebody does a too early college basketball top 25, that used to be too early back when things were normal. Now it's just impossible. You don't even know who the roster is. How are you predicting? No. But obviously Bennett Sturtz is there, and you listened to Coach Sash on the show yesterday. He's one of the best players in the country. And so you build from there. Yeah. Hey, let me ask you a question you can't answer. That's what I love to do to you.
All right. I'll try to answer.
How many starters is Ben McCollum looking for right now?
One or two, probably.
I was going to say two, but I think he'd be okay with one.
Yeah.
Because Bennett Sturtz is starting, and probably the Cam's probably starting.
How do you say his last name? Did you learn it yesterday?
Yeah, I even asked Coach Sash to say it, and he did. It's God, I can't remember. But you know what? I do encourage, if people didn't watch the interview, to go back and watch it, because I had him give a scouting report of we went through every single
great.
Bulldog. And so if you're wondering, how good is Cam? How good is Tavion Banks? Not Tavion, but Tavion. But don't you have, and I think Cooper could start if needed, right?
Yep.
So I think there's four-ish there, and if you can add one or two and have some competition, I think it's hey, I want to talk real quick about shooting. You mentioned, the honor kid can shoot it, and this kid can shoot it. Mm-hmm. And Coach Sash talked about that. Like, they didn't have enough shooters last year at Drake, Tom. They won a lot of basketball games, but they didn't have the pieces that he would regularly want in a team, did they? I think he's that's one thing he's looking for, is he's looking for shooters. Cooper can shoot it, all that kind of stuff.
I think there were 293rd in three-pointers made, which is pretty remarkable given the way that the game is played today, and the fact that they played that way and won 31 games is pretty remarkable.
Yeah.
When you think about it. So it just tells you that you've got to be patient on offense and get good shots wherever those might end up being. And and I think the thing I've just been urging Iowa fans is just be patient with this roster build. It's going to take time. You've had a dead period here going on that's makes it even longer for it to finish up. So just everybody just kind of let him do his job. He's going to find the right players.
Two last things for you. One, you said this, and we'll probably scroll on X right now and we'll see something changed because you said that. Be patient, and then something will pop. But two, before I let you go, the Masters is underway. Do you have it? It's early
Zach
on.
Johnson's going to win.
It's
Zach's going to win.
Stop pandering to Zach. He already likes you.
I don't pander. So
who's going to win this year's Masters?
Zach Johnson.
Okay. If Zach doesn't win, Tom, who's going to win this year's Masters?
Sandy Lyle still teeing it up, or is he done?
I think he's done.
No?
Yeah.
Bernhard Lager's playing for the last time.
Fred Couples is out there, if you want to be old.
Out there. Larry Mize, he's done, I think.
Give me a pick. Come on. Who'd you invest your wife's hard-earned money on?
You have to pick Scotty, right?
I don't think you have to.
He's probably going to win.
You know who Celia likes? And
here's my long shot. Shane Lowry.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not a long shot. I think he was probably.
No, it's not. Did Celia say Seb Straka?
No, I mean I've invested on Colin Morikawa. I think she didn't say Davis, but I think Davis can be good. Real quick, and I'll talk to you more about this off air. But I had a snake draft tonight, 7 rounds. I was 8, then I was 12 people in it, so I was 8, then I was 16, and so first pick I got Justin Thomas. Now I don't love what he does at the Masters. Doesn't usually play well there, but he's playing well right now, so I like that. On the way back through, I could have taken Jordan Spieth at 16, and instead I took Willie Z. I love Willie Z.
Celia's most hated golfer.
I know it. I got to text her and let her know. So I took Willie Z. And then I won't get into all of them, but on the way back through, I got Casey Connors, and I got, who else? Probably Daniel Berger. But you're not looking to win. It's just, I'll explain it to you later, but don't you dare yuck my pick, young man. So anyways, Tommy, I appreciate you doing this. I told you I wouldn't keep you long. I don't want to keep you long. I want to just because you never know what's breaking in the world of the Iowa athletics. So enjoy the Masters. Get rested this week, and because we have a lot of wrestling to talk about next week.
We got Mania next week.
I don't even care about the Hawkeyes next week. I don't care if they get the best recruit in the history of the world. Next time I see you, I want to be talking about CM Punk versus Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman in the middle of everything.
We're fired up. We got John Cena and Cody. Oh, it'll be great.
It's going to be good. So, all right, great. Tommy, I appreciate you. Have a good weekend.
All
right. That is Tom Kakert, kind of filling us in on some Iowa happenings. Not a ton, but I wanted to touch base with Tommy. I didn't need to talk to him for 45 minutes, but I want to get his thoughts on the staff moves yesterday and then also the possibilities. And that's what people love. You go to Twitter and you look, or X and you look, and every time somebody gets in the portal, Iowa fans, Illinois fans, whoever, like maybe they're coming to us. So it is an interesting time. Speaking of interesting times, up next, our good friend T-Roy is back with the latest edition of his .08 mock draft, and we'll also talk a little bit about April 24th. That's going to be our first remote over at Oscars. We'll talk all about that and much more right after this on Off the Air. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak, with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo, now even easier to find, but still hard to resist. When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfathers is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the... Let's try that again. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities, Masters Thursday. And I believe last Thursday or Friday of the Masters, I had lunch with my good friend T-Roy. Do you remember that, T-Roy? Uh-oh.
Yeah, didn't we?
You're frozen.
You there? You got me?
Yeah, I got you. Hold on. I'm also changing. It says you're Tom Kakert underneath you. That's just mean. I don't want anybody to have to be Tom Kakert when they don't have to be. So there we go. Look at that. How quickly I change stuff. You are as frozen can be. I think I can hear you though.
Can you hear me? You can hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. At least. Oh, all right. I think we're catching up.
Yeah. Look at you. Hi, pal.
Wow. Very. All right. How are we doing, bud? Good.
Do you remember having lunch with me last year during the Masters? I think it was at Harrington's.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it was. Yeah, we had meatballs.
It was good. No, you guys made some pulled pork or something like that.
Oh, that's right. We did. We food for the Masters last year.
Yeah. No.
Some sandwiches, some pulled pork. You're right. So.
Yeah. It was good stuff. Of course, it's T-Roy joining us. Is Jay going to hop out from behind you or anything?
No, I got nobody special today. It's you just get me today. So sorry, man.
Hey, I don't know if you hear this enough, T-Roy, but you're all I need. You're enough.
Well, I don't. I'm going to tell my wife that.
We're doing our mock draft.
Maybe one day I'll bring Mookie on the air with me. I've never had my wife on the air ever on any of the shows I've ever done.
Well,
so,
maybe that's the surprise next week. Oh, T-Roy, we might have to figure something else out because this is not going well.
Oh, lost me again, didn't you?
Yeah. Can you hop outside? Do you think if you went outside, you get better reception?
Well, let's see what happens, man. That sucks.
This is live podcasting at its finest. I love this.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Where are you at today?
Am I? Well, I'm at my new place, Ray's. It's not open yet. It's under construction. So yeah.
Look at that.
Is it working now?
Now you're. I think you're better. I think you're good. You're really good. Just
all right. Well, let's just see if that. What's that?
Stay where you're at. Just can you take a seat where you're at?
I kind of can, but I have to hold the phone.
That's okay.
We'll figure it out. Okay.
While you're going and moving and all that kind of stuff, we're doing our mock draft, mock 0.08 mock draft with T-Roy. We've been doing it for 3 weeks now. We are number 17 through probably 21 today. Is that what you're thinking?
Yes, sir. That's what we are.
And here's the beauty thing, and I'm going to pop it up now. We'll pop it up at the end, but you sent me this cool little graphic. I'm hoping when I pop it up, I don't lose you, but we're going to, and you won't, but I might not be able to hear you. But coming up at Oscars over in Bettendorf on the 24th, which is 2 weeks from today, we're not going to do the show. I think I can pop you up so I can hear you now. We're not going to do the show from 10 to noon. We're going to do off the air from 5 to 7 over at Oscars. Look at the picture of Anger or flexing. That's kind of weird. Like, I don't think he's that tough anymore.
He's very strong.
Yeah, he's strong. But we're going to have a great NFL draft party. The first round of the draft is that night. So we'll do our show from 5 to 7-ish, and then we'll head right into the NFL draft. People can hang out, talk football, come see us, come see Oscars, come see Pat, all that kind of cool stuff. So I think I convinced Julian Vandervelde to sneak over there as well. So
sweet. That's cool.
Yeah, it should be a bunch of fun. He doesn't know it, but I'm gonna give Logan Lee an invite as well. See if Logan is still in town and if he wants to stop out. And since he got drafted last year, it'd be kind of cool to have him out there as well. So, but anyways, I'm super excited about it. I think it's gonna be a ton of fun. And T-Roy's been kind of leading us up to the NFL draft with the mock draft. And your mock draft is at number 17 this week, T-Roy.
Yeah, the Bengals. So, bit of a team that's full of defensive needs. Obviously, they signed their big pass rusher to a long-term contract, but I think they still want some more help and some more depth at that position. So every one of the indications is that they're going to take the kid out of Tennessee, James Pierce Jr. This guy, the only knock on him has been character issues. But he's another one of those, really tall, really big, 4.47 40 guys that come off the edge. And, I mean, you can't have enough of those on your team, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
So,
when they spend as much money as they did, T-Roy, on offense, with Joe Burrow and both wide receivers, you need your defense to be younger players and that are on that rookie contract. And this makes sense. I think the defensive side is definitely where they'll be looking.
Yeah, and exactly. They have the offense, they have the weapons, and even at running back, I believe didn't Chase Brown kind of take over in that position for them last year, and he seems to be serviceable for what they do. I just don't see them taking a running back at this point. I don't think it's a big need for them. Obviously, O'Marion Hampton's still out there. There's a lot of guys that are really high on Travian. Travian Henderson out of Ohio State.
Yeah.
So, that's another name to watch. But yeah, I just think I think they're going this route.
And you still have Ontario Hampton still out there as well.
Yeah, O'Marion Hampton's still out there, yeah.
O'Marion Hampton, exactly. So 18 is Seattle. Tell us about Seattle and what you see there.
I see, big overhaul going on in Seattle with everything they have. They signed their new quarterback. Say goodbye to Smith. I think
Roy,
they're good.
You got to move around again.
Kenneth Walker Jr. Dang on it. So the guys is driving me nuts. So they have, I think they have what they need at running back. With Kenneth Walker Jr. and then Zach Charbonnet, or Kenneth Walker the third.
Yeah.
But either way, I think they're set. Jackson Smith, Jigma. I just think they have what they need on offensive weapons, but they do need to get some protection on that line because I think those were some of the problems that they were dealing with last year. So I have them taking the best interior lineman left, or actually on the draft board, and that's Tyler Booker out of Bama.
Again, another Bama guy. When you talk Georgia and Bama, it's pretty good places to get NFL players from. So, and yeah, you mentioned, now, did you consider a quarterback at all for them with the fact that because they signed Darnold. My bad. I'm sorry. They signed
As soon as they
Darnold.
signed Darnold, they committed with Darnold. I mean, they kind of played their hand, and they're like, yeah, we're going Darnold, and we're not going any other direction other than there. And that's how you got to look at it like that. So I think Sam put up the numbers to prove that he can play in the NFL.
Yeah.
Granted, not everybody wins in the playoffs. Only one quarterback wins the Super Bowl every year, and the rest of them all stink. That's the way the standard goes. But
that's true.
So yeah.
Okay, let's go. Let's go 19. Tampa Bay. T-Roy, what do you got with the Buccaneers, who got a lot of guys back, especially on offense, because Godwin.
Yep.
Godwin stays.
Yeah, Chris Godwin signed.
They kind of re-upped and got a bunch of veterans come back.
Mike Evans is sticking around for another year. He's a perennial stud. So we'll be going that route. But with them, I think they're going to be looking for defense. And once again, edge rusher is where they're going. And I feel that, so the best guy available on the top 5 of the edge rushers out there, it's Mike Green from Marshall.
He's a guy I want kind of for my Lions. I don't know he's not going to get there, but down at 28, I would love to see him there. Guy at a Marshall had a huge sack numbers, didn't he?
Yes. He produced better than some of the guys that are ranked higher than him on this list when it comes to total sack numbers. But still, I think that's something the Bucs are. I feel the Bucs are a well-coached team. They're just scrappy, like Baker Mayfield's scrappy. I don't have a lot of Baker hate. I feel this Bucs team is very interesting. It's fun to watch. They have Tristan Wirfs, one of my favorite college players of all time, and I love what he got to walk into as a rookie, winning the Super Bowl with Brady. That's a fun team. I'll tell you, if I ever had to, divorce the Cowboys because Jerry Jones finally did it to me, I might go Tampa.
I like that. I'm not a Baker hater either. I was probably early in my career, but I got a lot of respect for a guy that kind of bottomed it out and kept battling and kind of proven that he's got a bunch of talents. So Denver at number 20, T-Roy, where do you see the Broncos going under Sean Payton?
So Denver could go a lot of ways here because their needs are tight end, wide receiver, and running back. I think here they pull the trigger and they go Omari and Hampton because he gives you the receiving back, the dual threat. A lot of people here had him going with the Colston, the tight end out of Michigan, but I just think they're going to go with Hampton. Hampton really, like we talked about, in previous shows, he had a great combine, and he checks all the boxes of things that Sean Payton likes, aka what he had when he was in the Saints with now I'm drawing a blank on his name. Alvin Kamara, thank you. Yeah, that's why I hear the pro. But yeah, so I mean, just think what he did with Kamara. Kamara was on some people's radar, and then all of a sudden, when he hit the scene his rookie year, people were like, "Oh my god!" So that's the thing that Sean Payton can do with a pass catching capable receiver out of the backfield.
Yeah.
So,
all right, last one for today, number 21, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The other yellow and black in my life.
And do they have a quarterback? Is Aaron Rodgers their guy in your mind?
Well, I would think they're going to pull that trigger, right? Or what's going on?
I think they're waiting for him to pull the trigger. I think they're just waiting on him. I think they want him. I just think Aaron Rodgers loves drama, and they're just waiting on him.
They are such in a bad spot right now because here's the deal. If they don't get him, they're drafting a quarterback here, which is the wrong move.
Yeah.
Absolutely
not a good
wrong
quarterback
move.
draft. Yeah.
And Jackson Dart would be the guy, right? And I'm like, if you draft Jackson Dart in the first round, you've just ruined yourself for a Am I there? I didn't.
No, you're good.
Didn't lose me again. Okay. So I'm going to go with the faith that it's the Steelers are a well-run franchise for the most part, right? I think they're going to get some deal done with Rodgers. That being said, I think here they go with another offensive weapon, and they get Luther Burden III out of Missouri, the wide receiver.
Super talented kid. Sometimes during the year they had him in the top 10, top 5. So to get him at 21 is a value pick for sure.
Yeah, a speedster to go with Pickens. I think they're sitting pretty. So
no, it looks good. I'm grinding to find out what my Lions pick. I'm waiting to get there, and I got to be patient for another couple. So we'll do this again next Thursday. And then we'll complete it on the 24th. Is that the plan?
Yes, sir. Yep.
So we'll complete it.
We can. Well, is that math work, or do we have next week and the week after?
Next week is the 17th. The next week is the live show at Oscars.
Oh, so you want to do it on the live show? Okay, all right. I like that.
If not, or we can do, if we can find it, we can do it like on. Why don't we do it on Tuesday of that week? And that leads ahead more promotion into coming out on Thursday. I mean, so.
Yeah, that works for me.
I tell people about it's a big party, so kind of pump it up. Oscars on the 24th. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna have some appetizer catered in from Jerry's, which is down the road in LeClaire, just straight down Forest Grove, and it's gonna be a blast. Got you there, throwing it back at you. We got Pat, and as you said, hopefully Julian and some of the other former Hawkeyes show up to party out. We're going to get after it. So I'm really pumped. I can't wait for it. I already had my wife get a babysitter, so you got me.
Oh,
I'm locked in.
I love it. And I think shaking cakes, is that what we're calling them? Shaking cake?
A little shaking cake. I was watching the end of the last episode, and you guys were talking some Masters.
Yeah.
Who did he pick to win it? I didn't catch who he picked to win it.
I can't remember what he said. I can't remember. He kept saying Zach. He's weird.
He is weird. I took DeChambeau. I think this is the year he breaks through.
I've invested on Morikawa, and surprise to nobody, Scotty's 2 under through 7. So sometimes you try to
just the boring
overthink
pick on this, right?
I know. You overthink it sometimes, and it's just sometimes you just go with the obvious guys. So, well, T-Roy, I'm pumped. I can't wait for the 24th. We'll see you again next week, and we'll keep rocking and roll through this.
Yeah, do we have time for my fun fact, by the way, or no?
We have plenty of time, man. There's no weather guy waiting for me to take my time. Let's go.
So, fun fact. The 5 teams that have had the most top 10 draft picks, do you know who they are?
Well, the Detroit Lions have to be one of them.
They are at number 4.
Okay. Because you probably got to think long term, not just bad teams. The Browns.
Yes.
The Browns.
No, they are not top. They are not a top.
Because you got to think like teams that have been in the league for a while. I mean, the Jaguars, but they haven't been around long enough. The Raiders?
Right, haven't been along. So
the Raiders?
I'll give you a hint. 3 of them are in the same division.
Is it the Vikings and the Bears?
The Bears are at number 2.
Wow, that makes me feel better. I like that. But not the Vikings. The Packers?
Packers are number 5.
Okay, because you're looking long term.
And then the last 2 are currently in the same division. So number 1 and number 3 are also on the same division.
Let's go with the Giants.
No, they were top 10 though.
That doesn't surprise me. Let's go with the Bengals.
No, I want you to think about a team that's moved a lot and started its career in the Chicago area.
The Rams.
The Rams are at 3. So you got
Cardinals.
one more. That's right.
Yeah.
There you go. Good job. They're number 1.
I only need. I know. I love these though. I think I like this little tidbit at the end almost more than the mock draft itself. I love these.
You know what? It's harder for me to come up with that bit than it is to pick these draft picks. I'm like, I need something that can get his brain going. So yeah,
I want to call you I want to text you and find out who you have the Lions taking, but I don't want to ruin the surprise. I want to wait and do it when we're on air.
You can't do it. I wouldn't give it to you anyway. I wouldn't give it to you anyway. I want to apologize though that my stupid internet wasn't working here or my connection. But we've done it here before, like in this area before, and it worked just fine. So very odd.
So where are you at? Where are you at this time? Tell me about the bar.
Well, so Ray's is right next door to Willie's.
Okay.
And it's going to open here shortly, in the next month, 45 days, something like that. So, but I've been spending all week, we've been next door at Willie's, bringing in all of our wine, all of our liquor, and all of our beer. So it's just a madhouse in there. And it's starting to actually look like a liquor store. It looks really nice. So I can't wait to show you when you get a chance to come out. So
I'm pumped.
We're really proud of it, and we're excited to be able to launch it here real soon. So
well, I love it. I'm going to bug you because we need to get together for lunch and then go over to Oscars because we need to do the logistics of where I can put certain things and all that kind of stuff. So I'll bug you later this week, and of course, everybody will see you next week right here on Off the Air. Thanks, T-Roy. We appreciate you.
All right, brother. You take care, man.
All right. That is T-Roy from the old Don't Hassle Us, We're Local days, doing his .08 mock draft. And we grinded. Sometimes you got to grind. You got to deal with some internet, but we got him rocking and rolling. And, man, the NFL draft, that's the beauty. April is so underrated because you got the Masters and you got the NFL draft. And then baseball's kind of kicking into full swing. So, yes, I love my, September, October football months. And November has football, basketball at the same time. But April's good. April with the Masters and the NFL draft is really, really fun as well. Well, that'll wrap up Thursday edition of Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I want to thank our guests. I want to thank John Deere Classic Tournament Director Andrew Lehman for coming out to the house, talking Masters, talking John Deere Classic. That is right around the corner as well. So always great to catch up with Andrew. Also thank Tom Kakert. A little quick update on the Iowa situation when it comes to transfer portal targets, if you will. And then, of course, T-Roy with our mock draft as well. Coming up tomorrow on the show, we're going to catch up with former Geneseo standout and a guy who played a lot of college basketball, most recently at DePaul, Isaiah Rivera. We're going to chat with him tomorrow on the show and a lot more as we wrap up the week and then get ready for the weekend. And then, of course, we'll rock and roll again with a new group of shows or a new bunch of shows next week. Again, if you're watching this and you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. We'd love to get to 1,000. That's the goal. So not the goal, the ultimate goal, but we want to get to that 1,000 mark. So we're like 17 people away. So tell a friend, get them subscribing, and help us out here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. We want to thank you guys for watching. And as always, we want to thank our fantastic sponsors that allow me to do this goofy little show in my loft every single day right here in the Quad Cities. Have a great Thursday, Quad Cities. We'll see you back here for Off the Air tomorrow.